All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you want to go ahead and share the presentation, I'll give introductions to our presenters. So this morning, this is the VA Caregiver Support Program overview and updates. Our presenters are Carol Combs and Amanda Mason. They both work with the Phoenix VA healthcare system and the Caregiver Support Program. This session is going to provide an overview of the VA Caregiver Support Program, which includes the Program of Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregivers and the Program of General Caregiver Support Services. So this session is going to include some criteria that are required for each program, the enrollment process for those, and it'll highlight some of the benefits available to all caregivers enrolled in the programs. So welcome everybody this morning, and I'm going to give it over to Amanda and Carol.
Hang on a minute, I'm having a mess.
Oh, no problem.
Ay. Now I can't figure out how to undo the mess I made.
Oh, no.
Hang on a minute. So sorry, guys. All right, I know what I'm doing. Oh, gosh. Amanda.
All right, there we go.
While we're waiting on that. Oh, awesome. While we're waiting on that, I wanted to just welcome everyone, and I'm so excited to be here chatting with you all, and hoping that you take away some good information to either support yourselves or the caregivers that you know.
Okay, I figured it out. It's gonna be just a second.
Okay.
There, yay.
Right.
Ta-da.
So let's see. So I think we can do our poll. We do have two polls. This is just to help get a sense of who's in our audience here, since we are not able to see each other face to face, and also just to get the basic kind of a baseline of people's understanding of the program. So there's two polls, if we could do that. Thank you. All right. Okay. So it looks like we have a good mix of veterans, family members, friends, others, and it looks like we've got some basic knowledge of the programs. It's very helpful. Thank you so much for doing that. It just kind of lets me know how to tailor our presentation today, so we can close the poll. Thank you so much. Okay. So my name, as Leslie mentioned, my name is Amanda Mason. I'm a social worker with the Caregiver Support Program. I've been with the VA for 12 years. Been with the Caregiver Support Program for the past year, and I'm just loving it. So the next slide, please. So I believe Leslie mentioned our objectives, so we can actually move on to the next slide. All right, so the Caregiver Support Program, there's two different branches of the program. One of them is the Program of General Caregiver Support Services. And for our purposes today, I might mention this either as PGCSS or our general program. So those terms are used interspersively. So general program is the Program of General Caregiver Support Services. That's one branch. The other program is the Program of Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregivers, or you may hear me refer to that as our comprehensive program. So again, two different branches, two different criteria, and different benefits that go along with that program. Next slide, please. All right, so quick overview of the program. So the PGCSS, or our general program, has very broad criteria. There's no application required, no service connection requirement for the veterans, and it's available to veterans of all service dates. And our comprehensive program has far more extensive criteria. We'll get to that in just a minute. There is an application required. Veterans must have a 70% service-connected rating or higher, and the veteran service dates at this moment, today, they do need to be on or before May 7th, 1975, or after September 11th, 2001. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, so to expand upon this, the criteria for the PGCSS, our general program, is a very broad criteria, as I mentioned. Really what we're looking here is we're looking to serve caregivers of veterans that are helping in some sense of their activities of daily living. So this can be helping with bathing, this can be helping with grooming, and really either that or they're helping with the supervision or care in the daily tasks of the veteran is not able to do that. The veteran does need to be willing to accept services from their caregiver. And the caregiver does need to desire our benefits, which we'll speak to in just a minute. And the veteran does need to be enrolled in VA care. So again, very broad criteria. And then the comprehensive program, or PCAFC, has much more extensive criteria. We've already spoken that there does need to be that service connection requirement. The veteran needs to be receiving care in their home, meaning that they can't be living in a nursing facility or anything like that. They do need to be receiving care in the home. The caregiver does need to be a family member or residing with the veteran full-time if they're not. The veteran needs to has a need for hands-on assistance each and every time an activity of daily living is completed, meaning that they are really requiring that assistance hands-on. They're unable to bathe without a caregiver helping them, every time that activity is done. That's just one example. Or they're really needing that supervision 24/7. Without the absence of that, with the absence of that caregiver, they would need a different level of setting that they'd be living in, such as a skilled nursing home. And the decision about admission to that program is made by a clinical team, which we'll speak to in a moment. Next slide, please. So our enrollment process for both of those programs. So the general program, again, very brief. It's very, because it's such a broad criteria, we really want to make sure it's so accessible to our caregivers. So the first step is the caregiver veteran say, yes, we want these benefits. We want to be engaged in taking advantage of support services that are available to the caregiver. We do a brief intake with the veteran to see what kind of needs they have, make sure that they meet the criteria. And then we do a more extensive caregiver review where we go into the caregiver's strengths, their coping skills, what their support currently looks like. And then what we do is we get those referrals made to help bring some additional support or whatever their needs are. We try to meet them at that moment. So it's a brief process, probably takes about up to 2 hours to get them enrolled and started with services. So on the other hand, the comprehensive program has as I mentioned previously, it does require an application. We'll get that link to you all later. But it's a 9-step, very extensive application process during which we are obtaining information from the caregiver and the veteran in terms of their needs of activity of daily living, of supervision. We're really trying to capture that. And it's a very, very detailed process. We'll show you that slide in just a minute. And ultimately what happens is that our VISN, which is it's separate from the VA Medical Center. This is a team of people that's called the Centralized Eligibility and Appeals Team. It's a team of people. They review all the application materials from all the medical centers in our entire region. So that's New Mexico, the state of Arizona, and Southern California. They're reviewing the information that is supplied during the application process, as well as the information in the veterans record. And they are the ones that the VISN, what we call the SEAT, Centralized Eligibility and Appeals Team, they're the ones that make that determination. So it's a much more extensive, comprehensive process. Next slide, please. And this is a snapshot of the process. In the interest of our time today, I'm not going to break down each and every one, but this is just a snapshot of what that process looks like. They're contacted with the initial application just to see if they meet those regulatory requirements. They have a 70% service connected. The caregivers, either a family member or lives with them. We start with that, and then from there we have a series of assessments that we do complete, and along the way, at certain time frames, we will consult with our centralized eligibility and appeals team to render a decision. Next slide, please. All right, so once a decision is made, either for the general program or the comprehensive program, these are some of the benefits that our caregivers can enjoy. The first is for the general program is resource and referrals. So getting some additional information about what resources are available. We do the referrals in real time. We have an extensive options for training, education, and support, which I'll speak to in just a minute. Our services are done online, in person, on telehealth. They can be telephonic. The services are focused on helping the caregiver learn strategies to care for the veteran and care for themselves. And also get support from others. So really that's what the training and education and support services are focused on. And then, as I mentioned, it's earlier reference here, our services are available through telehealth. We know it is hard for caregivers to step away. So we want to be able to do what we can to be as accessible as possible. So that's our that's our general program services and benefits. The comprehensive program, so as it sounds in the name, the benefits are more comprehensive. They do include all of the benefits I just mentioned that are available to the general caregivers, and they do include a monthly stipend. And that stipend level is also determined by the centralized eligibility and appeals team. If they're eligible, they can get access to CHAMP VA for health insurance. They get access to mental health counseling, some additional trainings, enhanced respite services above and beyond what is available to veterans enrolled in our system. But, some travel support. They have wellness visits that are completed every 4 months or so, where as a member of our team or a member of the VA will connect with them, see how they're doing, check in, see if we need to get any additional services rolling, and that we're providing the best support that we can. Also, there will be legal and financial assistance available as well. Next slide, please. So this slide, I really am hoping that, one of the things we can hopefully take away from our time today is some examples of the wonderful caregiver trainings and support opportunities that we have. So I'm going to really focus on first REACH VA, which stands for Resources for Enhancing All Caregivers' Health in the VA. So REACH VA is an evidence-based program, and it's really focused on helping to reduce caregiver stress so they can gain some confidence in caring for different conditions. There's different programs there's one for dementia, spinal cord injury, PTSD, ALS, dementia. There's a program for each one of those conditions. And so when a caregiver, after they enroll in the general program or the comprehensive program, if they feel that they would benefit, they do get enrolled in that program. And what happens is they receive a workbook, and I'm actually going to hold it up. You do need to be enrolled in the program to get this, and you receive this after you do an enrollment process for REACH VA, but you can get a workbook, and this is the PTSD workbook. The first part of it really focuses on strategies to care for different aspects of post-traumatic stress disorder, different symptoms, and really the workbook contains strategies that other caregivers have found to be helpful. So in caring for that condition. That's the first half of the workbook. The second half of the workbook is focused on strategies to care for themselves. Caregivers, it's really important that that caregivers are getting the oxygen to themselves, like using that analogy that we often use with, when people are flying, flight attendants speak to the importance of securing your own oxygen before securing oxygen of your dependents. So really this program, the second part of it is really how do you make sure as a caregiver you're getting enough oxygen? And we're looking at brief strategies for self-care, things that are realistic and can be done. So should someone enroll in the program, they do get paired with either a coach or a group that really navigates this workbook with them and tailors the workbook to that specific caregiver. Our services are done currently, as I mentioned, online. I'm sorry, not online, on telehealth. So it's delivered in real time. And it can be 4 one-hour coaching sessions or 6 one-hour group sessions during which we kind of go through that workbook. And it's just, it's a fantastic program. There's been some nice success stories that I personally have seen as a certified coach in terms of the lives of caregivers and reducing the burden that they do feel. So, and as I mentioned, there's different programs. So there's a workbook for PTSD, dementia, ALS, multiple sclerosis, and then there's like all eras. So basically kind of a catch-all for everything else.
Amanda.
Yeah.
Amanda, the workbooks, you have to be enrolled in the program in order to receive the workbook, correct? Okay,
and
that's
yeah,
what I
and the
thought.
reason for that, yes, I know. You know, it's funny. It's one of the things I hesitate by holding it up because I think everyone's like, I want that.
I want that workbook too.
Yeah, it's a great workbook. I mean, there's also a nice, there's a lot of pamphlets in them too, where there's a pamphlet here about, you know, managing your own healthcare, you know, keeping tracks of your own appointments, you know, because sometimes when we're so focused on caring for others, we overlook ourselves and, you know, keeping tabs on our own health conditions. So yeah, there's some great benefits, but yes, you do need to be enrolled and paired with a coach, and the coach really tailors this. There's a safety component too. So that's why it's really important that we're working with someone who's certified in navigating that workbook. Next slide, please. All right, so building upon that, we're going to talk about building better caregivers. So building better caregivers is a different platform to receive some information about caring for different conditions as well as caring for oneself. Unlike Reach VA, which the services are delivered in real time by a certified coach, building better caregivers is 100% online. So you have your own password, login information, and you access a workbook. A workshop, which is so everyone starts with the same group on a specific date, and you conclude 6 weeks later. During that time, you access the portal a few times a week. You can interact with other caregivers that are also taking it, and you can provide support, encouragement in the online forum. It's really nice to have both Reach VA and Building Better Caregivers available, because there's some caregivers that are like, you know, I think I want to start with this, or I want to start with this. It's nice that we have multiple options, and you know, people have different levels of comfort with the computers, and so it's just nice that we have those options for them. Next, we have Caregivers First. Caregivers First is a skill building program. It's really designed to enhance confidence in terms of accessing resources. And so it's a 4-week program that's delivered by psychologists within the VA. And our caregiver support team does support it as well. It's really designed to empower caregivers with the resources that they feel that they may need to help care for a veteran. We also have quarterly SAVE trainings. SAVE training is a suicide prevention training where it goes over different strategies to identify that someone may be at risk for suicide, ways to ask the questions gently, validate the veteran's experience, emotions, and then expedite the care and expedite the help. So we offer that quarterly to all of our enrolled caregivers. It's wonderful that we're able to offer that and really empower our caregivers to have information that they need so they can feel confident. So we have much more, but those were a few that I really just wanted to highlight here. Next slide, please. So how do you get engaged in the program? So there's a number of ways you can get engaged. We do have a national caregiver support line that's available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for those that are in Arizona, which I'm assuming is most everybody here, that's 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So you can access that number. The phone calls are received by social workers such as myself, and they can help with any resource brokering or offer support, lend an ear. And what they'll do is they'll the caregiver's permission, they'll let the team know that, they'll let us know here in Phoenix that somebody called that caregiver support line, and we'll follow up. So that way they can receive that live feedback and then that support on the back end. We also have a centralized program line that is located here in Phoenix at the main VA hospital. It's the if someone wants to access our team here, that's the number that they will call, that second number that's listed on that slide. And then lastly, for the comprehensive program, I've mentioned a few times that there is a application required. The application is called a 1010CG. And the link, I believe Leslie's going to drop the link in our chat box. So that is the link to access that application. Also in that link is a great deal of information about tips and strategies to care for individuals. There's tips on managing medications, tips on communicating with healthcare teams. There's a VA suicide prevention toolkit for caregivers. There's a whole bunch of information on that caregiver.va.gov website, in addition to that application. So just some really nice information out there. And I do encourage, those to take a minute just to look at that website. It does contain, again, great information. Next slide. All right, so with that, that concludes my portion. And now I'm going to turn it over to Carol to answer any questions that may have come up or any questions that you all have.
While we're waiting for questions, I'll tell you that www.caregiverva is one of my very favorite resources to give, because it also goes into a little bit more explanation about what is required for eligibility into the program. So it gives you the ability to look and see, does my veteran meet this criteria? Do I do what I need to do for that?
Yeah, one thing I really like about that website, Carol, is there's so many links. There's fact sheets, there's links to more information. There's a lot on that website. It's
probably
great.
Information you didn't even know you wanted is on that website. It's got so much. So there's a question related to hospice or palliative care in place. Does this impact the eligibility for either caregiver program? So what I can tell you is that if an application has been submitted for a veteran on behalf of a veteran and a caregiver, and there is an active hospice or palliative care system in place, then we have the ability to request an expedited application process. It doesn't guarantee that anything is going to, change out of it. You still have to really follow through the same processes that everybody else does. But because you're on hospice or palliative care, we have the ability to see if we can expedite it, and we have to get permission from the centralized eligibility and appeals team to do that. But we do that. Okay, so yes, for the comprehensive program, that is the program that provides a stipend, and in order, one of the eligibility requirements is 70% service connected or higher of any. It could be like any mix. So the combination, it could be one, it could be a combination of, but it must be at least 70% service connected.
So that sounds, Carol, like it's a total, right? So if you have a certain percent for one disability, another percent for another disability, the total must equal 70.
Correct.
Great.
Correct. However, what did change was that previously in the program prior to 10.1, before expansion, the service-connected disability or injury had to be what the caregiver was needed for. And what changed was that the service connection is a requirement. However, if we have a Vietnam era veteran that's older that now has a dementia, but didn't have 70% service connected for a dementia because he likely received a service connection prior to his disability, then he can, then that is taken into consideration by the centralized eligibility team. Can a caregiver call into the, oh, I don't think I know the answer to that question. Do you, Amanda? Can a caregiver call into the number to find out if their loved one meets the 70% connectedness if they don't know? I would think that that would have to go through the benefits.
That would be my thought, is that they
Yeah.
would contact the
Yeah.
either our eligibility department at the VA
Right,
or the VBA directly.
Yeah. I don't think you could call into the centralized line for the caregiver support program. They can't look people up.
Right.
They can't even look people up for us that are on the program. They can see that they're in our program and they know where to find who to send the call to, but they don't necessarily know. Oh, thanks, Debbie. Oh, I'm not sure how to answer that either. The caregiver needs a caregiver in order to get a transplant. Yeah, I believe that would be different criteria. If you go to the website, or yeah, thank you, Debbie. The service, the reason for a caregiver must be a continuous care. So for everything that the caregiver needs to do for somebody, it has to be each and every time they do it. So if you needed, if the veteran needed assistance in the bathroom, toileting, the caregiver would have to be required for all of that, for every time, every single incident. And it has to be a longer period of time. So more than 6 months, a continuous period of 6 months.
I wanted to mention real quick, everyone, I did see a question about homeless veterans. The VA does have specific services for veterans who are experiencing homelessness. So I did put the Be Connected link in there so you can take a look at that. There's also links for each separate VA within the state for their homeless services. So go ahead, and if you're interested in services for homeless veterans, take a look at that program. And that'll give you there. Also, that program has so much information. It's like Carol said before, more than you'd even want to know. So homeless services, just go to the VA's homeless program.
I don't know if I missed any other questions besides that one. No, the comprehensive program is not the same as aid and attendance or housebound. Aid and attendance and housebound go through the benefits side, and it's a benefit that you have to a whole different process. The comprehensive caregiver support program is a clinical program that is based through the clinical side of the house. So VHA, the healthcare side, very different.
We've got plenty of time, everyone. If you do have questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat real quick, and Carol and Amanda can take care of those answers for you.
Since we have some extra time, it appears, I want to just, thank everybody again for their time today, and just, I thought I'd offer a success story if we have some extra time. Oh, looks like we do have a question.
No, the veteran does not have to be. Well, to have been, I'm not sure I understand your question, but employment in and of itself isn't what that's okay. Employment in and of itself is not what the centralized eligibility team is looking for. They're looking for the need for a continuous caregiver, and that it would have to be more than 6 months. So if the veteran meets some of the criteria but is still working, there's nothing that would prevent you from putting in an application to apply for the program.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to make note that we did put the session survey link in there, the SurveyMonkey link. Please take just a minute or two to fill that out before leaving. It'll come up in a separate window. I'm also adding links for you for each of the separate VA caregiver programs, so you can see what the direct contact information is for those programs at each VA in the state.
To reply to the answer for the coach, the general program, does the coach go out to the home? At this time, all of our calls are through VA Video Connect or telehealth. The criteria for the proposed caregiver, you can find that on the www.caregiver.va.gov website. There's a whole section in all of that information that kind of gives you what the criteria is and what the centralized eligibility and appeals team will be reviewing when they review the records.
And it also includes a fact sheet regarding the general program as well.
And more things than you'd ever think you need, didn't even know you needed on there. So much information.
One thing I really like, Carol, when I add content to our Be Connected website, and I'm doing research every day, all day long for the most part. I find so much interesting stuff when I'm adding resources to our website. I'm like, oh, what's this? And it leads you to so many different places and things you didn't even know about. It's just so great. What is a little bit frustration is the VA website. There's two. There's sort of the old one with the logo, which I really, really love. And then there's the brand new one. Sometimes you go back and forth, but there's just so much, like you said, Carol. And if you just go to the caregiver support page, there's tabs and links that will take you to all kinds of stuff. I know there's a geriatric webpage as well, which has, like you were talking about, aid and attendance. It has all the benefits, all of these programs and everything. So I just, if I could take up the whole day just looking through all the links and everything and finding new information.
Yeah, I agree. I try really hard. The person that asked about the not, so then may qualify, just probably not at a higher level. I wouldn't even venture to propose that I know anything about what may or may not occur in the centralized eligibility and appeals team. I'll just get myself in trouble. You can only go by what you do and how you do it, and throw it out there. There's been they just look at everything. They do a very, very detailed and comprehensive evaluation into each and every request. And so I wouldn't even venture to guess whether you would, what level of care would be approved, if approved at all.
Well, and I was You know, I wanted to take a minute just to offer a success story. I talked to a caregiver about a week and a half ago, and she was telling me that she had applied for the comprehensive program and, you know, was found not to meet the criteria. But she's told me that just the assessment process and just talking to our staff really woke her up to her need to care for herself, put her own oxygen mask on, her own oxygen. And she said, and it really empowered her to do that, as well as really, you know, further embrace her husband's diagnosis, and really educate her about it. You know, she said she thought she was doing a great job. And then she, after our staff, she said, you know, there's so much opportunity for even more to be. She ended up, you know, pursuing some training in mental health and trainings in nursing. I mean, she really embraced it. And so, you know, she had applied a couple of years ago and then reapplied, and, you know, but she just was so excited and so grateful for the opportunities to learn strategies to care for herself. And there's so many more. I mean, I could really go on for another 10 minutes talking about that, but I know that we want to be mindful of our time. So
yeah. Well, I wanted to also, ladies, to bring up the National Caregiver Support Line. This is the 1-800 number, and I just assumed that the times are Eastern. I imagine, because it's a national hotline. Can you talk a little bit about the support line and what people can get from that?
So it's a very eclectic line. You can call into that line for I want to say, and I've been in this program for quite a few years, just about anything that pertains to a caregiver. You're a caregiver for anybody, or you know of somebody that needs a caregiver, they'll call into this line and just ask questions or look for resources, or if update on the program if they've already applied, or I can't get a hold of my caregiver, I haven't, or my caregiver support coordinator. So it's really a line that is a resource, question answering, connecting somebody to the right area. A lot of times, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Amanda, because I haven't managed the CSL line in a long time. They'll call in even just looking for, I had a home health request, but I haven't gotten my home health yet. What do I need to do? You know, something that's not even related to our program. And those very kind and generous folk at the CSL line will make sure that they get them connected to the appropriate VA to, and when it comes to us, that's our role. We contact the caregiver or the veteran, whoever is calling, try to figure out what it is that they're looking for, and then find out where they need to go and get them connected to it. So it's, I'm probably minimizing what they do, but it's more of a place where they can connect. So if they've lost their caregiver support coordinator's name and they don't know who that is, they can connect them back to the program, the correct program, or they didn't get a letter they were looking for. So it's just anything you can, anything you need to ask that might have the word caregiver in it, will go to that line.
Great. Yeah, thanks. And that's the VA caregiver line. And that's one of the nice things, similar to what Be Connected is like you're saying, any question you have, they'll connect you to the right person. It's very similar to the new, My VA 411, one number you can call and they'll get you to the right place. And similar to even with our Be Connected support line, for those of you who haven't called it or know about it, it doesn't matter if you're a veteran in need, a caregiver in need, you can be a provider, you can be a friend, a neighbor, a family member. You can call the Be Connected support line and we'll connect you as well with the caregiver support, with whatever needs you may have for your veteran, or even for yourself. If we take care of the whole family, whether you're a caregiver or not. We take care of spouses and everyone involved. So it's nice to have that support line. I'm also going to go ahead, I'm going to add the survey link one more time, and I'd like people, if you haven't taken the survey for the session, please go ahead and do it again. We really appreciate it. It's on there twice for you. We really want to know what your feedback is, and what you liked, what you didn't like, if we can make any changes. Next year, hopefully for the symposium, we'll be in person again. We're really looking forward to that. For those of you who have been there, I always tell people it's a 2-day Lollapalooza of anything and everything you ever wanted to know about the military veteran community in Arizona. All right, so for the homeless program here, let me get back up to it. If you're homeless, or you're dealing with veterans experiencing homelessness, you can go to the VA's Caregiver Support Program. There's the link I just put in there is the VA's national information, but you can also link to the Phoenix or Tucson or Prescott VA. They all have their own separate programs. Here in Phoenix, you go to the CRRC, that's the Community Resource and Referral Center, I believe it is. It's on Thomas near 16th Street, isn't it? I think that's where that's located. So for veterans who might be experiencing homelessness or in dire straits and just about to be homeless, the homeless program covers, and it covers whether it's mental health, whether it's caregiving, medical issues, employment, whether it's justice involved veterans. Just like the caregiver program, it's got a lot of information and it goes out like a spider web, just like everything we do. All right. So we just have a couple of minutes left, and unless anyone has any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and encourage everyone. You can take a break. We've only got about 10 minutes until the next session starts. If you want to go get a drink, you want to go to the restroom real quick, or anything like that, go ahead and feel free to do so. We've also got a networking lounge in the conference center. So if you want to leave this session, go to the lounge, see who's there. I know my partners on my team, Dee and Amy, who work with our Be Connected community team, have been in there. I'm not sure if they're going to be in there because we have our session coming up. But go ahead and take a break. And Andrea, I was just wondering if you're ready to go ahead and end the session or not.
Whenever you're ready, you can end.
What do you guys say, Amanda and Carol? Do you guys have another session you're going to be going to?
No.
Good. You're done here for the day. All right. So yeah, let's go ahead. It's almost 2:20 or 10:25. So let's go ahead and end the session, Andrea. And thank you everyone for coming today. We really appreciate it. It's been nice. And like I said, all of these will be recorded and be available on the event website for you to view later. If you missed any information, you want to go back and get the links and everything. And we look forward to seeing you in the second session, wherever you may be. I'm going to be in the partnership session, and then we've got a great wrap-up general session at the end. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amanda and Carol. We really appreciate what you guys do over there. And have a great day, everybody.